What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite dating coach, Elliot Scott. And as you can see by the title below, we're going to talk about how to make it so believable that you're done, that he ends up regretting everything, that he ends up regretting the way he treated you, realizes that he took you for granted, and may come back around, okay? So, jumping right into this, I want to talk about the things you could do prior to breaking up, and some of these things you can't even help anymore because you see them in hindsight, but for future reference, okay? And then there's things you can do after breaking up to make him regret it. So, the first thing I want women to understand, this is a very important concept when it comes to regret, and that's the believability of it, okay? So, what do I mean by this? When you're talking to a guy, let's say you and I are talking for, if I ever had the honor, ladies, if you and I were talking for 3 months, and within this 3 months, it's obvious you want a relationship more than I do. It's obvious you like me more than I like you. It's obvious that I am not the best guy. I'm not, I'm not on my A game, but you're making excuses, you're falling for my excuses, you're giving me the benefit of the doubt and you're letting me come and go. Maybe I left you on red, maybe you called out shit and I didn't, whatever it is, okay? You're giving me a lot of signs that I'm up here in the power dynamic and you're down here. Now, why is this important to understand? If he, believes this, that she likes me more than I like her, or I have the power dynamics, or I'm the one who ended it, and she's so desperate for the relationship, he's going to call your bluff at first when you do this no contact or you're trying to do these tactics. He's going to call your bluff. You have to understand, a man is not just going to cave and roll over. He's not going to say, oh, she's not talking to me for 2 weeks, or oh, she's blocking me on everything, or oh, she's done when I message her here and there for my own convenience. Like, he's not gonna be like, okay, well, she's pulling away, I better chase her. That's not going to happen at first. This is why I teach in a lot of my videos, in my guides. If you're interested, get the guides below, all 6 of them. They talk about everything I talk about in my videos. That context and framing is very important. Context is the things you guys do over time that creates the vibe of the relationship, and the frame are the variables in the moment. So, for example, when it comes to framing, if every time we're hanging out, or let's say we're talking on the phone, like I just sense your insecurity, I sense that I'm not into it as much as you are. That adds up over time, ladies. That gives a guy a very strong security blanket, a security, a belief system that I have nothing to worry. This is why I tell women, when a guy talks about being exclusive with you, but you're not in a relationship, don't fall for that shit. Don't fall for that. I have videos on this. Do not fall for that. There's no reason for him to be exclusive to you, because what you don't understand is he's saying that. Now, he could be telling the truth, but why would you believe him? It's more beneficial for him to throw that out there, for you to follow the rules, and for him to break them, okay? You never take everything a guy is saying with a grain of salt, because whatever you put, and I know that sounds cynical, but whatever you put out there and whatever you assume of his, he's saying this shit and maybe you're eating it up or not, right? Like, you don't know. You take on the burden of risk. You're taking on the burden of risk. You have no idea with what he's saying is true or not. He has to prove it to you. He has to prove it to you. And the reason I'm saying this, again, going around full circle now, is if you play the game correctly, the way I teach it, the way Mother Nature wants you to play it, the guy should never feel, oh, this is my bitch, I fucking got her. I'm not saying don't be open. I'm not saying don't be vulnerable. I'm not saying don't love. I'm not saying don't communicate. That's the beautiful thing about a relationship, is all those things. But it has to go hand in hand. As soon as you're not getting it, things should be going off in your head. It shouldn't be like, oh, well, what can I do to get him to like me more? What can I do to get him to fall for me? What can let me watch these videos to get him in this trap. No. A high value woman, no. She's like, hey, what's up, homie? What's something up? and she calls it out, of course, in a better way than that. But the way Mother Nature wants you to play the game is you must first be courted. There's nowhere in the animal kingdom, now not literally, I'm sure there's some species that does this, where the woman's chasing, the woman's doing the validation, the woman's making the nest to prove to the man that she can make a nest. That is not a thing for the most part, right? It's the man, it's the two men fighting. It's the birds building the most beautiful nest. It's the biggest, strongest gorilla, or whatever. It's men courting you. It's men investing their resources. When that's not happening, that's a red flag. Okay, that's a huge red flag. That shit should be going off in your head. And when it goes off in your head and you correct it, you will never have to worry about the stuff I'm talking about right now. I know it sounds like I'm going on a rant, but hopefully you're getting everything I'm saying. Meaning, you don't have to worry about him thinking, oh, I got this girl. Oh, if she's pulling this game, I'm going to call her bluff. Because you're playing the game correctly already, baby. That's how it's supposed to be played. So, with that being said, in hindsight, this kind of goes the same way. Okay, we broke off, Elliot. What do I do? You have to be the most believable motherfucker out there that you're actually done. So 2 things with this. Number 1, I tell women, I know this is very regurgitated in a lot of my videos on regret, but do not do it. Other dating coaches will tell you otherwise. I'm sure therapists will tell you otherwise. Trust me on this. Do not do it if you cannot do it. Nothing is worse than saying something and going back on it. Now you're his. You're his, right? I mean, in this power dynamic, you're not. You lost the game, baby. You lost. You're out. You're out. You might as well just show him your cards. It's literally like playing Texas Hold'em, but your cards are facing him, right? And he can react accordingly. Whatever he wants to do. You cannot fall for that, ladies. You have to be the most believable woman, because if you do this shit, and if you call it out or you try it, the 30-day no contact, 90-day no contact, oh, his birthday's coming up, it's safe to say happy birthday. Nothing looks worse when you don't talk to a guy for 2 months and then his birthday comes around and you say happy birthday. Oh, bitch, should you be thinking about me? Oh, you missed it. He's like, here it goes. I knew I got her. I just had to wait it out. No, do not do it unless you can actually follow through, meaning do not do it until you accept the fact that there's a chance that you're going to be on this earth, but not together. Then you go to the second thing, which I'm talking about, or the other dynamic of it, which is you have to be so believable that you have to follow through with everything. Just because he reaches out doesn't mean you're like, oh, Elliot, he reached out. Okay, now I can respond. No, he has to work his way back in. If a guy pulls some BS, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to do no contact. And then he reaches back, or then you do it for a week, and then he reaches out to you. That's called convenience. That's what you don't understand. Ladies, I really want to emphasize this. That's called convenience. When you're doing this crap, this no contact, because he's pulling some BS, and then he's like, okay, I guess I could come back around and say this, right? And you let him back in line? You let him back in line, just all he has to do is say, hey, here I am. And you let him back in, that's convenience on his end. You're very convenient for him. How do you know he's not going to do that shit again? Newsflash, he is going to do it again. There's no reason for him not to. He knows that you're playing the game, but you folded the minute or two, the text or two he sent you, you folded and he's back in line. Goes back to what I said in terms of like what you do before the breakup. Like you just showed your cards. You revealed to him that, hey, you have me. That's why it was so easy for you to break this wall down. It's like the 3 little pigs, man. He's blowing that fucking straw house down. You got to have that big old ass brick house. No, you got to have that next one. You got to have that Pablo Escobar fucking prison that you can't break out of. That's what you need. There ain't no one breaking that shit down, okay? It's a pretty good analogy. But you have to do that. So with that being said, ladies, if you want to get a guy, the most important thing is what you do up to that point, okay, before the breakup. It has to be 50-50. The dynamic has to be healthy. But after the breakup, if you want a guy to regret it, do not do it unless you can actually follow through with it, okay? Because trust me, you're human. A lot of people think they can hide their emotions and cave and bury that shit. No, you can't. You're going to fight an uphill battle the entire time because you're feeling something that's not authentic, and you're going to react accordingly, which is not good in your end. You're going to cave, okay? But if you do that correctly, you do what I say, and you do it when you're ready, then be the best effing actress you can and follow through with it 100% until he's blowing up your shit. He's begging. He's asking to be with you. He's realizing he's an idiot and he's doing it for a bit. Then you're like, hey, what's up? Then you got to give him the contract. Like, hey, dude, this is cool. I'm happy to hear it, or whatever the fuck he tells you. But then you need to say, I'm not wasting my time. Like, why are you reaching out to me? We obviously want different things. And you want him to kind of explain himself. But again, if you want more on this, like no contact, I literally have a guide on no contact down below. And I talk about the whole regret thing. I talk about the stages guys go through and stuff like that. And if you want to work with yours truly, link is down in the description below, or I'm going to put it in the comment section. Ladies, I love you all. Take care and peace.